Hello and welcome to CineBites, a cinematic culinary podcast where we explore film and food. On today's episode, we are exploring the delicious world of Luca, one of the more recent Disney Pixar movies, where we're going to be getting into some delicious meals and some delicious takes about this movie. Feast your eyes.
Missed the mark on that. Sorry about that. But no, absolutely.
All right.
So I'm excited. One, I want to say, Mamma Mia.
Mamma
right?
Mamma Mia.
and
Mambo
before we even
Italiana.
Hey, Mambo.
We've been singing that.
Yeah, even before we get into this, I do want to point out, I know Disney's been doing this for a long time, but I do like how there's a lot of movies that they showcase or really focus in on different cultures, and I've noticed, here more in recent years, and it's just really cool to see that because it's a lot of the diversity and kind of inclusion side of it, and I think that's really cool. So just want to point that out.
It's a very Italian movie.
Yeah, and we're very fortunate enough with Luca and with Italian heritage that Italians are very big on food and making food life. If you are of Italian descent, or if you are Italian, you know that food is a crucial part to living, and this movie does highlight a lot of how food is involved, and you see that throughout the film. But there's one specific food in here that we are excited to try.
Yes,
and it's loosely translated into the American version, or maybe not even loosely translated, but I think it's creamy pesto pasta is what it's translated into. I can't remember how they say it in the movie, but it's essentially that, but in Italian.
Yeah.
And so here it is.
Let me get a picture because this is beautiful.
Yes.
Now, here's what I'll say. It does look like the movie.
So
it does look like the movie version.
Yes.
But anyway, so we have this pesto pasta. This is the part of the movie in which Luca and I'm trying to remember
Alberto.
Luca and Alberto are on land, and they come across. Is it pronounced Julia, just spelled different?
Yes, I believe so. Julia. I'm gonna grab some napkins real quick.
Okay, I'll just fill in. Julia's house with her dad, and her dad makes them a pasta, and it is a pesta. I said pesta. I mixed pesto and pasta. A pesto pasta. And
the thing to keep in mind with him is, he's very welcoming to Alberto and Luca, but he is, and we can get to the synopsis after we kind of dig into this, but he is also a sea monster hunter, I guess you could say. So Luca and Alberto are two people who he instinctually hates because they are sea monsters, but he doesn't know that yet. So for him to welcome into the house and give him one of the best pastas that he can make, it blows their mind. Oh yeah, they love it, and they don't know how to use a fork.
Yeah, because they're just used to they're sea monsters. Yeah. So anyway, I also note in real life we have our private CineBites chef Johnny, who's so great to have doing this. Johnny made homemade from scratch pesto for this. This isn't store-bought stuff. He made it fresh. He didn't make the pasta fresh. We were giving him crap about that. Just kidding. We didn't care. Obviously, that's too much. But he's like, I'm going to make homemade pesto. And we're like, go for it.
Yeah. We will not say no. Oh, man. And honestly, while he was preparing it, we were just eating the Parmesan by the block, and it was delicious.
Literally, we ate a whole block of Parmesan.
It's so good.
Right before this episode.
Yeah. Man. Oh, that's so good.
It's really good, actually.
And this is going to weigh in favor of my overall rating for the movie. And we can start talking more about the movie, but
Bro, we might finish this whole plate.
Yeah, probably.
I actually really like this right now. It's hitting.
You want to go ahead and kind of chat about the movie, or do you want me to?
Yeah, so, because You've seen that. You saw this more recently than I did because you literally just watched it because you had never seen it before.
Yep.
But quick synopsis: there's a boy named Luca. Not even a boy, a sea monster named
pause,
Luca.
sorry.
Uh-oh.
Our drinks too.
Oh yeah, what is this?
It's an Italian soda. I think it's pomegranate and orange, if I'm not mistaken.
San Pellegrino, pomegranate and orange.
Oh man,
That's
is
good.
good.
This combo,
so good.
Anyway, there's a sea monster named Luca, a little boy, and he runs into this other boy one day when he's out herding his sheepfish named Alberto, who's a sea monster, and he leads him to the land, and Luca realizes that Alberto can go out on land. When they are in the water, they look like sea monsters. When they get out of the water, they look like humans. And so Alberto tries to convince Luca to come out there and explore the human dry land and explore what it was like. They become infatuated with Vespas.
Yeah.
And then eventually...
Because they try to build one as a project just to go down the hill and see if they can ramp it.
Yeah, so there's this whole first act of the movie of basically Luca becoming familiar with the human world and what it's like to be a human. And then eventually, he goes back home and kind of hides this from his parents, but eventually he ends up just completely leaving his parents because they were going to send him to the deep trenches of the ocean with his uncle. So anyway, they go to a nearby fishing town, which, first of all, this fishing town is covered with imagery of basically killing sea monsters. They don't like sea monsters, so they have to keep their identity secret. They meet this girl named Julia, and they really want to buy this Vespa. The whole plot of the movie is they have to win this competition to get money to buy a Vespa because they really like a Vespa.
Right.
That's the simple plot. So they find a Vespa, they get with Julia, start practicing for it, but then eventually Alberto was kind of being a jerk in the moment and revealed him that he was a sea monster, and Luca betrayed him, and it was this whole thing. And then eventually by the end, their trio of friendship falls apart, but then it comes back together at the end after they win I forget what it is, the Portorosso Cup, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
So anyway, it's a very simple plot for a movie.
Yeah.
I feel like for this film is totally different than a lot of other Pixar things in the fact that this movie is kind of like in its own way, a slice of life film. In that the plot is so simple. You're mainly focusing on the characters. They're in the same place the entire time.
Yeah.
It's very simple. It seems like it's like a Pixar version of a slice of life, because like a lot of other Pixar movies are big in scope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they have a lot of different things going on. And this is fairly simple, but I think that's kind of the vibe of this movie. It really leans on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really like it because there's food is a big part of it. The town and the environment is a big part of it. People are a big part of it. And
it checks all the boxes, I think, for a Disney and Pixar movie. I'll let you eat the pasta because I know you're itching to get some. But yeah, that's, I think, the biggest thing. It ticks all the Disney boxes of like, what is the formula for a Disney movie, and it hits it. What I want to say, and it may not be a popular opinion, is it didn't hit everything for me necessarily when it comes to a Disney Pixar movie. And maybe it's because I have a lot of high expectations for what Disney has put out in the past. And we've kind of talked about this when we chatted about Toy Story and other, Disney Pixar movies like that. I don't want to say anything bad about Luca because I don't think there is anything inherently bad about it. My daughter even loved it. As soon as we were watching some of it, she said, "This is my favorite movie." And I was like, okay, we're 10 minutes in. But she loved it, and so it's really appealing, to younger crowds, and there's nothing in my opinion that I saw that you could say is a bad film. Animation's great. I think the
I
creativity.
think it's a very good-looking film.
Very much so. Yeah, very very
like the
aesthetically
style.
pleasing. It's very wholesome, and that's really all you want in a Disney movie, and it hits all of those. And I guess I'm trying to figure out for me what is falling short. And because this is how I'm feeling, so this is how I'm gonna say it. Is Luca, in my opinion, for my experience, is going to be a very forgettable movie for me. And I hate to say that because it is a wholesome movie, but I don't see it up there with all the others, and it doesn't have to be. But I'm just saying, if we're in talks of a great memorable Disney Pixar movie, it's not going to be up there for me. But
Yeah.
That being said, like it's fine to put on in the background, but I mean I'm not going to be invested into it too much.
I think that kind of goes with what I was saying about how it's kind of a slice of life movie.
Yeah.
Because just by the principle of it, a slice of life movie is going to be way less memorable than something with a big adventure, a big scope, big dramatic things. Because there's nothing hugely dramatic. Pixar is known for, drama, emotional scenes, different things like that. When there is some drama, there can be some emotional scenes, but it's not very emotional of a movie. Mostly just kind of feel good. There are some moments that are, there's betrayal and there's sadness, but it quickly turns around.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's not going to be memorable, in that it's not meant to be memorable, because it's kind of just this kind of slow slice of life, burning, like just like vibing kind of movie, if that makes sense.
I guess.
And so yeah,
I just I don't know. I guess for me, and maybe my thought process is putting movies on like to have I have an expectation for how movies could be, because if it's just kind of a this is just a wholesome movie just to kind of make you feel good and just to have in the background, that's fine. If that's what you want, that's totally fine. I don't necessarily I guess need to sit down for an hour 45 minutes if that's all I'm gonna get out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like I think a lot of what I love about cinema and what I love about film is it pulls your emotions in different ways, because that's what it's meant to do. And if it doesn't do that, then what are you doing? Is it pulling the fear out of you for a horror film? Is it pulling the laughs out of you for a comedy? And this is wholesome, but is it pulling enough out of you to remember it? And I don't know if this necessarily is for me. And I don't want to discredit, everything that's been put into this movie. I mean, this movie is like we talked about, a beautifully made movie. But for me, as far as story goes, I feel like I could have written something like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
so I think it's very interesting when you look up reviews for this movie. It gets higher critic scores than it does audience score.
That's interesting.
And I think that. I don't know. It's very interesting. It's 91% Rotten Tomato critic score. So critics really loved it, which I think kind of goes along with sometimes critics, when they watch movies, they kind of like boring movies in a way. Now, I didn't think this movie is necessarily boring, but as I've been saying, it's kind of mellow, not super eventful kind of movie.
Yeah. I mean, it was nominated in 2022 for Best Animated Feature Film. It didn't win, but I don't know what it won that year. But I mean, and I don't know. I for some reason it just didn't connect with me, and that's fine. I mean, you get a lot of movies that the majority of people or critics will say is amazing, but for me, it just didn't hit. And I mean, that's just my.
I think it's not one of my favorite Pixar movies, but I actually really like this movie, and I think that it kind of just flew under the radar because it came out in 2021. I could be wrong. I think that this was one of the movies that had a very short theatrical release, and then they put it on Disney Plus almost immediately because it was 2021, right after the pandemic. But because I actually think they just recently re-put it in theaters for a more official theatrical release. Because I'm actually seeing on here, it says that the release date was March 22nd, 2024, which was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, that didn't come out 2 weeks ago. That came out forever ago.
Well, and then DreamWorks kind of came out with something similar, but I feel like that had a little more depth as far as... what you don't expect certain turns with it. What was it called? The Kraken one. Ruby.
Ruby Gillman. I haven't seen that. That came out this year or last year.
So, and this is a spoiler just in case you want to see Ruby Gillman. A very similar plot. So she is essentially a sea monster, more specifically a kraken, who is on land disguised as a human. Her whole family is, and they blend in. And when anyone asks if they do something out of the norm, they just say they're from Canada, because that's the easiest. They're like, oh, we're from Canada. That's how we are up there. And so that's kind of their disguise. But there's a lot more twists and turns and depth in, I think, that movie more than Luca. But Ruby Gillman did not do well. As far as critics review or audience review, and Luca did. So I don't know. I think story wise, I think Ruby Gillman can be funnier than Luca, but I think as all around Pixar feel, Luca has that. But I don't know. And maybe I'm being too critical. I just thought there could have been more. I was expecting more, and I just didn't get it.
It's it does have that Pixar feel, and it really isn't that funny of a movie. It's definitely not a comedy movie, I would even say. There's there might be some moments that are funny to a kid,
and it's labeled as comedy here.
Yeah,
right here.
It's not. I mean,
there are. I will say there is the fun part or funny part with it was like a brief moment, and it's Jim Gaffigan, so he plays the dad, and he's a Hoosier too, so. Or I think he went to Purdue, but he funny guy already. But his character, when they were looking for Luca, he thought he found him. He's like calling out this kid that is just a random kid trying to eat ice cream, and he just pushes him in the water. So that was kind of a funny moment. But
I mean it has its moments, but
it does kind of fall short as far as like it being a comedy film.
Yeah, it falls short on the comedy, and I don't even really know if it's. In my mind, I wouldn't even really consider it much of a comedy. Pixar movies are interesting in that a lot of them may be labeled comedy movies, but I really just feel like they're animated dramas with some comedic family elements. Because studios like DreamWorks or whatever definitely lean more towards goofy, funny, kooky kids movie.
Yeah.
When Pixar tries to, their whole thing is they try to be more mature,
right?
Less fart jokes kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so,
well, it's kind of like how Disney Channel and Nickelodeon has always been. DreamWorks is not Nickelodeon, but Nickelodeon has been like, let's be the gross, like funny, that kind of thing, and that's our thing. And then I guess Disney was more the preppy kind of, I'm that kind of funny, but and it kind of seems like it carried through with DreamWorks and Disney Pixar headbutting for years. So that makes sense. I mean, that's a good way to put it. But let's go ahead, unless you have something else to say about this, let's go ahead and rate this. We cleared
this whole plate.
I will say, first my statement will be this, even though I wasn't a huge fan of Luca, my rating will go up because of this meal. A creamy pesto pasta.
Wow.
Delicious.
I
think it would be even greater.
He nailed it too. That's actually really good.
I love having bread with pasta as well. So if we would have had like a garlic bread or something, it would have been just icing on the cake.
The drink is solid.
And
it's
the
not
drink
too
is,
sweet.
Oh man, I actually really like. I'm gonna have to get a case of this because this is actually really good to me. And then the movie is a good movie. It's just not my cup of tea.
I think that's where we differ in that I don't know. I love when a movie just has good vibes. I don't know. And this movie just screams like good vibes.
Yeah.
Slice of life. You get the Italian culture in there. It's just very simple and sweet and just good vibes, as I already said. So I actually really like this. I don't consider it one of the best Pixar movies or one of the best movies ever either, but it holds up really well for me. I'm giving this all a... I don't know if this is high. I don't remember what I've scored for many other things.
I know.
This might be kind of high.
It's more of a gut, and you'll see more of these ratings are gut check ratings. So we may talk something up and rate it a lot lower than something we talk down. So it's never. I mean, there's some consistency, but I
doubt it.
I
doubt it.
But
all
okay, let's do it at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Oh, 9.1. Okay. Well, it's 8.4. Still, honestly,
so that must have brought it up a lot for if you had to rent the movie.
Very much so. Yeah.
I'm guessing you would rate the movie 6.5?
Yeah.
Maybe 7.
I would say 6.5, 6.8 for me personally, but the food took it way up. So
I'd give this movie.
Like, I don't see anything wrong with this pasta and this drink.
No,
I don't see anything wrong. So it's a
it's
near
actually
10.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get the recipe Johnny used for that pesto.
It's a near 10 for me. So
for the food,
that's why I think it averaged to about.
Honestly, the food was a solid 9.5.
Yeah,
and I would say the movie was about an 8.5, maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah,
8.6 to me. Yeah. So I'm about 9. So
good, so tasty. Well, we can just roll right into Cine Snacks. Any other thoughts about Luca? I think we kind of nailed that on the head.
No, I mean, I think if you haven't seen this movie because it kind of flew under the radar, I think it's worth a watch if you like Pixar movies. I think even though you're not as huge of a fan of it, I actually think it's one of the better Pixar movies that they've done in a few years, though.
In the last few years, I agree with that.
Let me look up Pixar.
Well, there was in the last few years, I did like, and I forget what year it came out. It kind of flew on the radar too. At least I think. Soul. I think it.
Yeah,
Soul
that came out in 2020. It kind of flew under the radar.
And I
Soul
thought that
was
one
also
was
decent.
Yeah, but I agree. I think there are in most recent years, I think it is kind of falling up.
Starting off
short.
with if we go all the way back to 2015, 2015, The Good Dinosaur, Finding Dory is okay. Cars 3, I thought was decent. Some people don't like it. Coco, I thought was really good. Incredibles 2 was kind of a letdown, if I'm honest.
Compared to the first. I liked Incredibles 2. It felt really, really long.
Yeah.
I feel like it was super
good.
long.
It wasn't offensively bad, but it was I think the first one is a lot better.
Yeah.
Toy Story 4 was decent. Onward is kind of Soul's pretty good. But Luca, Turning Red, Lightyear, and Elemental are the 4 Pixar movies that came out in the last 4 years, and I honestly think Luca's the best out of all of those.
Well,
I've not
we
even
just heard
seen
recently about Wish that Wish isn't getting really good.
Yeah, that's not Pixar, but
it
even
is.
still.
Oh shoot, I thought it was
that's
Pixar
just
for
regular Disney Animation Studios.
Oh, okay, so it's not Pixar. Interesting. I
think the next Pixar movie to come out will probably be Inside Out 2, which comes out in a few months.
Okay. And then
right here, June 14th.
And there's high hopes for it to get better. I mean, we have, I think Ratatouille's coming out with a sequel.
Really?
Sequel. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
I think I saw that somewhere. I think Moana's getting a sequel.
Moana's definitely getting a sequel this year.
Yeah. There's a few big ones. I'm pretty sure Ratatouille's coming out with a sequel.
On Wikipedia, which is the end-all be-all of information.
Yeah.
It says that Inside Out 2 comes out June 14th, 2024, so just a couple months away for us. Then the next one slated after that is called Elio, Elio.
Oh.
It says it's an upcoming American animated science fiction adventure film.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not Ratatouille. For some reason I thought I caught wind of
I don't know what
Maybe
Elio's about. The universe called The Wrong Number. It must be, it's sci-fi something. And then Toy Story 5 in 2026. And if I'm honest, I love the Toy Story franchise, but just stop.
Yeah.
You should have stopped at Toy Story. You should have stopped at Toy Story 3. That's my 100% opinion.
They closed it so well.
I know. And then they're like, oh, let's bring it back. What are they going to do for Toy Story 5?
No.
Buzz and Woody are now separated.
Yeah.
If you bring them back together, that just negates all of... They already negated all of Toy Story 3 by making a fourth one, because the third one was like, oh, finally a bookend. Fourth one, I know we talked about this on the Toy Story episode.
Yeah.
The fourth one, they're like, okay, Buzz and Woody are now separated. Spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen it. So now the fifth one, if you bring them back together, you just negate the whole thing. I don't know.
Yeah, cash grab. I mean, that's really a lot of them are cash grabs. I mean, I think in recent years Disney's been experiencing huge losses, so maybe bringing back bangers. They know people will bangers. So all right,
and I know bangers.
And I know bangers. So we're gonna go into Cinesnacks. I am going to.
Okay, by the way, side note, because I was looking at Toy Story 4, it got $1 billion in the box office.
Woo!
That's a cash
worldwide.
Grab. That's a cash grab.
It is a cash grab.
I don't know if it's worldwide. It just says on the Google thing. It says box office $1.073 billion.
Wow, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, I hate when movies do that. I hate it because it just takes out the I don't know, just the I don't know what it takes a lot out of just cinema and really enjoying the movies when you're solely making it because it's either popular or it's going to make money.
Yeah.
Like the Fast and Furious franchises.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have watched a few of them, but I know that they're not.
Same.
Yeah, they're all the same, and they're not that great. But people are still going to go buy and watch it just because it's a cash grab. So I don't know.
One more thing while you're pulling up your movie for Cinesnacks. I was just curious about going back to Luca because it's a $200 million budget for Toy Story, and they got $1 billion out of it. Luca was, I don't know if there's an exact number. It's giving me different things, but around $120 to $150 million budget, and it only got $50 million in the box office.
Wow!
I think it's because of the pandemic, and it basically had to immediately go into streaming.
Yeah.
So who knows how much money they've really made on it? I don't know if they have much merch sales or like I don't even know how you calculate how much it makes off of streaming.
Yeah. It really, in my opinion, I think it flew way under the radar.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. $50 million versus Toy Story's $1 billion.
Yeah.
And that's only a 2-year difference when those two movies came out.
In comparison, I mean, that's like a drop in the water. I mean,
anyway, talking about a cash grab, they're not going to make another Luca 2 anytime soon.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be, but still.
Yeah. So I have 3.
Do you have your hints?
I do have 3 hints.
Sweet.
Yeah, I have 2 definitely, but I'll think of 3 once I get to it. Okay, so 2 minutes on the clock. You know the game. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh shoot. Is it 2000s?
No.
2010s?
No.
2020s?
Yes.
Ooh, recent movie.
More recent.
Is it an action movie?
Yes.
Is it like a thriller action movie?
Yes.
Ooh, any sort of adventure in this movie?
Kinda, I guess.
Okay.
Not really.
Is it of a very famous director?
No.
Is the director famous for other things?
Like what?
I don't know. I was thinking one movie in particular. Hint.
Fighting.
Fighting. Okay, that really helps me. Give me hint number 2.
Bar.
Okay, bar fighting. Or are they fighting in the bar? Is it male lead?
Yes.
White male lead?
White male lead.
Let's go. We're on a streak. Let's go. Let's see.
I don't know if we're ever going to break it.
Is there a love interest in this movie?
Yes.
Okay. Are we talking sci-fi at all?
No.
Are we talking... So you say thriller. Does it have horror elements or no?
No.
Okay, hint.
Florida.
Florida fighting. Is it a very famous lead actor?
Yes. 30 seconds.
30 seconds. I have nothing. My brain is nothing. Oh, shoot. I can't think of anything. Is there a dog in the movie?
No. Would that have helped if there was a dog in the movie?
I don't know. I don't know if I've even seen this movie.
5 seconds.
Okay, I just give up. I give up.
Okay.
Fighting bar Florida?
It's pretty much that is like the description of the movie.
So
there's
a white male who's bar fighting in Florida.
Yeah, and you know
that's the movie.
And you know the lead actor, he's very famous.
Wait, did you write it down yet?
There is actually a question that I don't think we have ever asked each other on this, and I think it would have helped maybe. If you haven't seen it, then I don't know if it would have helped. But oh yeah, do I need to write it?
Bar fighting in Florida. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead and write it.
Let me show.
You say very famous lead actor.
Very. I mean, I don't know who doesn't know this person. Okay, so this is the movie. Okay, go ahead.
This is not it, because this is not in Florida.
Yeah.
But this is the only thing I can think of.
It's a Hail Mary.
Is it John Wick 4?
No. It's not John Wick 4. It is Roadhouse 2024.
I don't even know what this is.
You know? Oh, with Jake Gyllenhaal?
No.
Oh, you haven't seen previews for it? Here,
so it's not even come out yet?
No, it came out. I've seen it.
Really?
Yeah, look it up. Roadhouse.
Okay, you know what? I know about this, because didn't he go...
So it's based off. It's a remake of the old movie with Patrick Swayze, the Roadhouse, which is has a cult following as like just an action packed just beat 'em up kind of movie, and that's basically what this one is too. It's just
I do remember seeing stuff for this because Conor McGregor is in it.
Yeah, he is not an actor. Let's just say that. But
he's a fighter.
He is funny in it just because it's Conor McGregor. But yeah, so I watched it.
I have seen stuff for this because Jake Gyllenhaal went to different actual UFC things.
Yeah.
As part of promotion, but I think were they also filming?
They did film, parts of those things to make it feel pretty real. It was. You have to watch it. I mean, movie? Do what?
I guess Post Malone's in the movie.
Yeah, for like a couple minutes, but it's if you like just a beat 'em up movie, then that's fine. But don't expect a whole lot out of this movie. But okay.
Yeah, I would have never ever gotten that because I have heard of it loosely now that you mention it, but I've never seen it. I didn't know what it was about.
All right, so I'm gonna text you your punishment.
Text it to me.
Yeah. So it's essentially you're just reading something.
Oh, okay.
But you're reading it in Italian.
Like an Italian accent?
Well, it's written in Italian.
Oh, okay.
So you and you could do it in an accent. It's whatever you're comfortable with. But read it in Italian, and then maybe we can like throw in what you're actually saying, towards the end. But yeah. So you ready?
No. Sure. Text it to me.
At least you're not eating peppers like in the Flamin' Hots. But
okay.
So
here we go.
I
put some Italian music on.
There we go.
I'm telling myself that. This is terrible.
I don't know how.
Vorrei essere migliore in questo gioco. Ho bisogno di essere migliore Hofato.
It's not even close. I'm like reading it along with you.
Hofato alcuni errori nella mia vita ma niente è paragonabile e questo sono un perdente adesso e lo sarò per sempre. Di Italia con amor. Grazie. Hey, mamma italiana. Grazie.
There you go.
What did I just say?
You'll find out later.
Wait, what do you mean I'll find out later?
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today on this episode.
Wait, we gotta do our Rex.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
We didn't think about. Do
Yeah,
you have a rec?
recommendation. I mean, really, the only recommendation is kind of in line with the Cinesnacks. I watched Roadhouse. Like I said, it's not. You're not gonna Conor McGregor is one of the lead actors, if that tells you anything. So
that's actually hilarious.
Just watch it for what it is. It's just kind of a beat 'em up movie. It's nothing to like. I mean, if you just want something on the background as like a fighting movie or whatever, you can watch that. That's all I would recommend, only because it's been in recent years that recently that I've watched it. So that's my recommendation. Roadhouse is a good one. Trying to think. Actually, this is actually a different take or a different shift from what we have been recommending in the past. I've been listening to audiobooks more recently, and this one is actually very on the pulse of what's happening lately as far as documentaries that have come out and things with Nickelodeon that have come out.
Ooh.
I'm currently listening to the audiobook of Jeanette McCurdy's book, where I'm Glad My Mom Died. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's very popular now, and it's been on like the bestsellers list for quite some time. And it kind of goes in line with the documentary Quiet on Set and a lot of things coming out about Nickelodeon, the truths about Nickelodeon, at least for that era. And I've been listening to her book, and she's done a great job. So it's really crazy to see the insight and one perspective of a child star and what they've gone through. And I imagine it's the same, and it's sad. It's for a lot of the child star actors. So yeah, that book is I'm in the middle of it. I don't know how it ends, so I'm sorry. If you listen to it and you get to the end and you don't like it, but so far it is sad what she's had to go through, but also brings awareness to that too. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I have heard about that book.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty good so far. So.
All right.
But,
well.
Yeah. So, thanks for joining us today in our talk about Luca. Like we said, if you love it, you watch it. Even if you're not interested in it, give it a try. You might like it. It might surprise you. But if you get your hands on the creamy pesto pasta, go ahead and make that, because it is delicious. Maybe that's something we can add if you DM us or message us. We can give you the recipe, because we love to share it with our munchies. So you can watch us on YouTube every week, every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on any podcast platform for the most part. I mean, we're pretty spread out. And then go ahead and follow us on Instagram if you don't already. So yeah, thanks again for joining us.
Bon appetit and happy viewing. See you next time.
See ya.